Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the I Do Wedding Marketing podcast. My name is Nina Adio, and I'm the owner of I Do Wedding Marketing, a social media marketing agency specifically for wedding venues and industry professionals. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about something we call posting and ghosting. I will let you know what that means and how you can easily avoid doing it. But first, I want to thank everybody who attended the Wedding MBA Speak Off. That was a speaker showcase within the Wedding MBA Facebook group, and you can watch the replay of that by going over to the Wedding MBA Facebook group. I'll leave a link in the show notes. I am on day 2 of the Speak Off. I come in at about an hour and 40 minutes in, and I talk about the 5-minute social media tips to kind of just blow your mind. But leading up to my presentation, all of the others you are going to learn so much from, and it's just a small taste of what you're going to get at Wedding MBA. If you want more of a taste of some virtual education, then you can sign up for the Wedding Summit Series Sales Edition. I will be talking about how the sale starts on social media. So it's all about social media selling. You can watch my presentation for free the day it goes live, March 11th. So you'll have access to that for free that entire day, as well as all of the other presentations that go live that day. One of them is going to be Whitney and Daniela. Whitney's been on the podcast from Wedding Industry Ads, and Daniela is going to be on next month, and they're talking about $1 a day ad strategy, so you'll really like that. Now, if you want to have access to all the presentations, I mean, there are 30 plus of them, you can purchase a ticket and then you'll get the lifetime access. People who get the all access pass actually get the ChatGPT for wedding marketing course I made. So you'll get that as part of your pass. So it's really great value. But now I want to give you some value about the concept behind posting and ghosting on social media and why that is not necessarily the best organic strategy. Okay, so what is posting and ghosting? It is when you are using a social platform and not really doing anything social on it. You are putting up a post and that's it. You're going on, put up your post and no more. You're not engaging with anybody, commenting, messaging, nothing. And why doesn't this work on social platforms? So they are social platforms and search engine platforms. A social platform would be Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, even LinkedIn, where a search engine platform would be YouTube, Pinterest. It's a place where you're searching and not necessarily communicating or giving those strictly social updates. And the social platforms like people who use the platform. Consider your own customer journey. Who are the best customers? They're the ones who are buying everything, who are really invested in your product, who are recommending it, using it, loving it. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, they want to see people who are in love with the platform as well. And look, I get it. Not everybody is in love with their platforms, okay? Not everybody is in love more so with the concept of social media. So in my 10-10-10 engagement strategy, that's what I do to combat that. It's 10 minutes a day. And I keep a list of 10 locations where I want to engage and 10 accounts I want to engage with. And that's where I get the 10-10-10 naming of that. Now, very often social media marketing professionals will recommend that you do an engagement strategy either right before you post or right after. What I'm going to recommend is that you do it whenever you can fit it into your schedule. As long as you're doing this, I believe and I know it's going to have impact. So what you want to do is like, comment, respond to people who are either already followers of yours. All right. So that's where you have to They may not be on your feed. You may not be following them. That's based on your own strategy. But you want to nurture your existing followers. You want to find new people. So in my 10-10-10 engagement strategy, which I have a engage to engagement workshop on my website. I'll link it down below, where I walk you through how I select the accounts. For this, what I'll say instead, if we're working limited time, go to your explore page and engage with people there, or go to the local bridal pages on Facebook. It could be, a bridal salon, a bridal magazine, a bridal networking group. Right now there's the brides list that's out, something like that, and interact with the brides that you're seeing there. Leave genuine comments, start some engagement that way. If you are somebody who's not a venue and you're looking to get at a venue, those are great places to comment. Go to the venues geotag or location tag, see who's been there. Maybe you'll see other vendors who've been there, and start interacting with the people there. And to interact, it's genuine comments. You can like a few of their posts. I always say liking just one post, I don't feel like is enough. If you'd like up to 3, I wouldn't do more than 3. It's enough to have someone go, oh, who's that? And these accounts that come up, they're either people who already allowed you to follow them, so they've allowed you in their world through that, or they have a public page, so they're welcoming and the interaction and connection. So another place you can do this is by going onto your explore page and interacting with people on there. But one of my favorite ways to really get a conversation going is to reply to stories, because that gets you directly into the account's messages in a genuine way, because you're responding to what they publicly put out in their stories. And then as you start a conversation, you can take it from there. I will say, as someone who is the social media manager for venues, let's say, or even planners, I mean, all of my vendors get this. When somebody just sends a message saying, hey, how can I be on your list? I don't really take that too seriously. But when they've already established a relationship, maybe have shared photos at the venue or work, or have engaged with our content, I take it a little more seriously, because by now we've already gotten to know them and their level of work. So replying to stories is great, but you can do it vendor to vendor, business to business, and you can also do it with brides. When I'm engaging in the right places, I'm finding engaged couples all the time. And that's from doing engaging within those strong bridal accounts, engaging at romantic restaurants in the area of my clients. I'll see engagements happen all the time. And it's all about your booking process. If you're a last minute vendor, this is for my live painters, the photo booths, cigar rollers, people who get booked sometimes even last minute, check in at the popular bridal shower locations, because they're still relevant leads for you. And they're learning more about the event process and the add-ons as they're having their shower and their engagement party, and it's kind of getting them in a great position to adding you on to their wedding. So those are some places to look as well. Here's an example of what I've experienced with this. I'll have accounts who do not want to add an engagement strategy for a platform, but they'll say, but I really want to be on TikTok. So I'll say, well, I can mirror the content to TikTok. If we're creating vertical video content, I can upload it to TikTok. But what I see is that content does not perform as well. Why? Because I'm not using TikTok. We're never logging in. We're never going on from our phone as the account. We're not interacting with people on there. We're not using the platform at all. We are just posting and ghosting. And the platform can see that, and they're less incentivized to push us out, because what are we doing for them? We're just thinking about what the platform can do for us. And the truth is, I know a lot of us feel very entitled and upset when social media platforms or businesses become pay to play, but they are businesses, and they do allow us to promote our work on their platforms. And so we have to decide what works better for us, putting in the time which is just as valuable as money, or putting in the paid ad dollars. So that's kind of the approach I take with it, with TikTok especially, and Instagram. You really have to be on there to start to see that organic growth and some leverage from the posting. Now, what I will say, if you want to post and ghost, do that on Pinterest. Pinterest is so awesome for that, because the same vertical video content that I am repurposing to TikTok for these accounts, I'm repurposing to Pinterest, and they do really well without any of the nurturing. So if you've noticed posts not doing as well for you and you haven't been engaging, I encourage you to try this out. Try with just 10 minutes a day, but in order to get it done in just 10 minutes, you have to have a strategy of where you're going to network, where you're going to socialize, and where you're going to find the people that you want to be talking with. So it's either going to be with new followers that you're trying to reach based on who they're following or where they're checking in on Instagram, or you're going to be focusing on people you already have as followers. And lastly, I find this to be just as good of a strategy, is to focus on your vendor to vendor relationships. Oh my gosh, I wonder what I wonder what just fell. I don't know if you guys could hear that in the background. A bowl fell from on top of the fridge that I had put there, like pushed back. So I don't know how it fell. But the good news is the cat is okay. And the good news is, I guess for me, is that I'm not going to edit it out, because you know how I like to keep things kind of really raw here and just have it be open conversation. Now to think of where we left off, though, before that happened, we were talking about, vendor to vendor networking on social media. Look, that is 10 minutes that is going to get you some growth and some engagement. And it can be as simple as, I love using the Knot for this, going to the Knot, typing in my area, deciding what vendor I want to network with. Is it going to be venues, photographers, etc.? And when you go to their page on the Knot, some of them will put their website, their Instagram, their Pinterest. You're going to see, as you do this, at least I'd say 40% of the people who put their Instagram on the Knot put it wrong, and they just either put the full URL, which then it becomes a few full the way the Knot puts it in, they already put in the URL part and they just want the username, so then the URL doesn't work because it's the URL twice. You'll see it as you do it. So that's always something good to check on your own page to make sure those links are working, because for some reason it's very confusing how the information is put in, and half of those links are broken. But you'll be able to get the username from it and know how to find them. And that's how I engage on social media. I'll see who has the Facebook listed there, the Instagram, and I'll comment on their stuff if I like it. And this way they know that you're a vendor in the area too, and maybe you guys can start working together. So that's just an example of how you could do some vendor to vendor relations and engagement using a site to make sure you get some added traction. You can get the most out of those 10 minutes because they're all listed out there for you. So ask yourself, what are you putting in to the platforms that you are looking to get something out of? Invest in 10 minutes a day as you can do it, to see what you can start to get out of it while putting something in, right? We always have to give to receive. So give a little love on Instagram and TikTok this week and see what you get in return. Don't forget, I'm going to be live March 11th with my presentation in the Wedding Summit series, but also tomorrow on March 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern, I will be live on Instagram with Margot Frazee, the host of the Wedding Summit series. space so you can ask questions about what you are going to learn if you register for a free ticket to this summit. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, I would appreciate a review so much on Apple, Spotify, a comment on YouTube, or wherever you are listening. I really appreciate your support as we grow this guy. It's just our little raw, natural podcast, and I'm having so much fun doing it. Thanks for being a part of it, guys, and I will see you next Wedding Wednesday. Hello and welcome to the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Nina Adio, a social media marketing expert specific to the wedding industry. On this show, I discuss tips to help you DIY your social media, as well as getting the confidence and income to outsource it. Thank you for allowing this episode to come through on your Bluetooth, your car radio, wherever it may be you're listening from today. Now, let's take your wedding business to the next level.